Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Kerbal Space Program, shall we? Well, I know nothing about this game except that it looks interesting. I've seen Quill18 playing it sometimes, and I've always been intrigued, and I noticed somehow that I just owned this game from a humble bundle from moons ago, and I thought, let's boot it up. Let's see what it's all about. So let's do it. I'm going to click Start Game here, and we could do training, or we could just do Start New, and I could see, if a tutorial is built in, and hopefully it is. So there are 3 different modes. You can do Career Mode, you can do Science Mode, or you can do Sandbox Mode. Now, I'm thinking that this sounds fun. It's the default mode, and we're going to go with it. I'm going to call my save Dr. Incompetent, and I'm just going to try it out. Career Mode. I like controlling all aspects, so let's do this. If this is a mistake, just let me know. All right. Welcome to the Space Center. Nice to meet you. I am Gene Kerman, Flight Director, and your guide for this quick introduction. This is the Space Center. From here, you can manage all aspects of the space program. Good, there is some kind of built-in guide. Feel free to have a look around, hold the right mouse button to move, or use the arrow keys. Indeed. Okay, yes, there's the right mouse button doing its thing. I can zoom in. Indeed. Fantastic. Right-click over the Space Center. By the way, you can also use WASD to learn more about them, and left-click when you're ready to head inside. So I can right-click on the, for example, Vehicle Assembly Building, and it says the VAB is where spacecraft are designed and built before being moved over to the launch pad for flight. Okay. Well, that seems pretty important. It's facility level 1, it's fully operational, and we can upgrade it for $225,000, and we have, 25,000, so that doesn't look like we're going to be doing it anytime soon. Okay. If you need more information, check out the training section on the main menu. Thanks, I've got it. So, you know what? I might actually want to do that then. Check out the training section. I'm not sure yet. Hey, look, I'm back. And I did 2 things. I changed the size of the UI because it was a little too small for me. So I went from 100 to 150, and it looks better, easier for me to read on my larger monitor. And I looked at the game for a moment, and I realized there is no preparation at all. So let's do some of the tutorial so we know what we're even doing. So this is the Getting Started in Basic Construction tutorial. Let's go for it. All right, so this is from Werner von Kerman. And he says, in today's lecture on vessel construction, he's welcoming us. He's Werner von Kerman. Whether you want to put a satellite into orbit, make a transcontinental flight, or step on to the very surface of the moon, you're going to need to build yourself a ship. Great, that is what we're going to do. It should be pretty easy, even if you're not a famous rocket scientist like myself. Indeed. All right. Next, in this tutorial, I will first show you around the Kerbal Space Center, then take you to the Vehicle Assembly Building where you'll learn how to construct a simple ship. We'll cover adding and removing parts, what the parts do, how to change the performance settings of the parts which have that option, and how to control staging. At the end of the tutorial, you will have a craft fit for a quick hop from the launch pad At each step, I will lock out all controls other than the ones you need for that step. If you still manage to mess up, it took even me some time to become as skilled as I am now. That's encouraging. You can press the back button to go back and fix things. It won't light up unless you do mess up. Okay, thanks. We're now at the Kerbal Space Center. I'll give you a quick rundown on how to get around. The KSC, for short, is home to the pinnacle of Kerbal endeavor and achievements for space exploration. Using the facilities you can see here, you will be able to manage your space program, create rockets and planes, track your Kerbal explorers as they roam the solar system, find exciting new uses for explosive substances, and in case of emergency, hire more Kerbals. Yikes. To find out about each of the facilities, you can hover your mouse over the facility buttons. Them or the facility buttons, they show up when the cursor is outside this window. If you need to repair a structure or upgrade them in career, you can do this by right-clicking them. Take some time to hover the mouse over the buildings and see what each are, and when you're ready, enter the Vehicle Assembly Building, the VAB, and that's the big one. Okay. So, for example, this is Research and Development. This is the Astronaut Complex, and I'm going to zoom just way in here. Take a good look at this stuff. Okay. So, Research and Development, Astronaut Complex, Space Plane Hangar, Suite, Mission Control, Administration Building, hilarious. Tracking station, and the launch pad. Alright, so I'm going to click on this, and oh, we're going inside. Very good. What you see in the middle of this screen is the construction area. This is where parts are placed and your craft is constructed. On the left side of the screen is the parts toolbox. It will show you all of the parts you have available in each of the different categories, once there are any to pick, that is. If you want your craft to be controllable, you need a command module, and it's best to make it the first part you place. Okay, so I did read just a little bit of about the game as I was installing it. It basically said, you get to work with the Kerbals, who are these adorable green creatures, and build spaceships. And they might not work. They might crash and burn, but that's what you're doing. And I love space, and I want to help these people. I understand this is going to be really difficult, but let's do it. So the part will either contain some plucky Kerbal crew or an automated pilot mechanism. As we're just starting, there's only one choice. Go ahead and pick that command module from the Pods tab. Okay, so over here, on the Pods tab, I'm in it, and all I can build is this Mark I command pod. Now, this looks kind of like, lunar lander pods that I'm used to from, the Apollo missions. Let's see. So the mass is listed, the tolerance is listed. It says 3 variants are available. The electric charge is 50. The mono propellant is 10. Crew capacity 1. Originally built as a placeholder for a demonstration mock-up of a rocket, the Mark I command pod was heralded as a far safer and more reliable option than its predecessors by rocket scientists throughout the world. It is now commonly seen in active service. That's hilarious. Well, who knew, right? All right, we're going to put it, and we're going to select it. After at least one part is placed, you can look around with the following commands. So orbit the camera, so we can use the arrow keys, move, and you can't use WASD in this screen. Move the camera up and down, the scroll wheel, or page up and page down, and then zoom the camera is shift and the scroll wheel, or plus and minus on the numpad. Cool. Well, we're really getting in there. All right, interesting. And I'm going to just like zoom in as much as I possibly can. And yeah, it looks great. Next. If you'd like your pilot to be able to make more than one flight, I would. That he or she will have to return safely to the ground or water on Kerbin. Parachutes are a simple way to make sure that happens. They can be found on the Utility tab. Change tabs by clicking their icons on the left part of its window. Okay, Utility tab. Down to the very bottom. When you're choosing parts, you can view the details of available parts by hovering over them in the toolbox, okay? And it just costs 422, whatever that unit of currency is. Manufacturer, found lying by the side of the road. Convenient. When the info is visible, most parts have an additional information window which can be opened with a right click. Note that the parachute states the effective diameter in each state and what the maximum safe speed for deployment is. Oh, okay. Interesting. Go ahead and select the Mark 16 parachute by left-clicking on it. Then move it to the top. Oh yeah, it fits right on. So I get to build it. It just kind of goes right on top there. Then move it to the top of the command pod so that the green sphere at the bottom of the parachute lines up with the green sphere at the top of the pod. Click again to attach. So you see a little sphere sticking out there. And if I were to rotate this, you would see that there is a sphere on the underbelly. Now, I'm going to tell you, just as I control this, when I get it anywhere near and I just drop it down, it snaps into place, and then it tells me it's going to work. I don't know if this will do this in the game outside the tutorial. I can only assume and pray that it would. Boom, we've got it there. And it's attached. Next. Adjusting part options. Some parts, like our parachute here, have configurable options. To see these, we need to right-click on the parachute we just attached to the pod. Do that now, and you'll be able to see the available parameters. So I can see its pressure and altitude. On the parachute, you'll see that you can adjust our altitude and atmospheric pressure at which to open. That setting can be quite useful on distant worlds. Oh, right. For now, let's check that the opening height on the chute is at least 1,000 meters. Okay. Because safety is the Kerbal way, after all. Now, I don't know if these are like lemmings and he's being sarcastic or misguided or who knows, but let's just hope it is their way. For the minimum pressure slider, move it to a bit to the right to 0.2. Okay. There we go. This setting prevents the chute from activating until the atmospheric pressure is above the configured value. On Kerbin, 0.2 is about 9 kilometers in altitude, so even if you stage early and arm the parachute, it will wait until then to activate. You can hide these options by right-clicking on the background scene or picking up another part when there's one available. When you're happy with that, you can proceed. So I'll just right-click over there and it goes away and I say good. Next, we're going to need something to make us go. Click on the Engines tab on the left to show the available engines and solid rocket motors. Okay, so we're going to find the engines here. Grab one and connect it to the bottom of the pod. You may need to zoom back in or out to do so. Okay, so let me just zoom out and let me grab this thing. And okay, we can just kind of connect this down to the bottom of it, and it's green, it snaps into place, and boom, we did it. Next up, we're going to need something to make us go. That's what we're doing. Okay, we did it. Oops, I forgot, you're just starting out. You're not a famous rocket scientist, and to make your craft survivable as it stands now, you'd have to be better at rocket science than me. Ha! Impossible. The problem with that craft is that this solid rocket is too powerful for the payload. Oh, yeah, for this little pod here. A single small pod in the chute. It'll either burn up on ascent from going too fast or burn up coming back down. Even if you survive that, the craft's mass will cause it to fall too fast for the parachute to operate properly, and you'd hit the surface before it could stop you. Okay, I promised to teach you how to change that to make it work later in a later tutorial, but for now, let's continue. Well, at least this way I get to tell you about removing parts. Pick up the BACC thumper and either drop it back over the parts toolbox or delete. Okay, so I guess this is this thing, and we just put it over here. Did I get rid of it? I think so. Next. Instead, let's add a solid motor that's a better match for a ship this size. At the start of your career, you will have what I consider rubbish parts. Literally, the motor here looks like and may well be a converted trash can. That said, it does have enough oomph to get this little craft moving skyward and quickly. As you progress, you will be able to unlock more engines and other parts. For now, though, let's pick up the RT-5 flea and connect it to the bottom of the pod. Okay, let's do that. We'll connect it to the bottom. Alright, so we got the new engine and we've connected it. Let me zoom in a little bit here. And then you can see it looks good. Next. The staging stack. Nice one. You've built the simplest survivable craft possible. I like it. We could go launch this right now, but it might be safer to explain one other thing first. In the bottom right, yes, I see this. Down over here. You will see the staging stack. I see it. It's the box with the number 0 and icons for the parachute and engine on it. This stack shows us which parts will be activated as we stage our rocket, okay? What this shows is that when we activate the next stage, both the engine and the parachute will be triggered. While it could be considered funny to open the chute and fire the motor at the same time, it's not going to give you much of a flight. Yes, that's funny. To fix this, we need to separate the engine and chute into 2 stages. If you mouse over the 0 stage, you will see a little plus and minus appear on the left of the box. Click the plus to add a new stage. If you add too many, click the minus button on the extra ones to remove them. Make sure you have precisely 2 stages. Okay, so I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to say 1, and that's enough, right? Because 0 and 1 is 2 stages. Alright, next. Excellent. It's important to note that the stages activate from the highest number and then count down. So our first stage will be stage 1, which is the engine, and our second one will be stage 0, the chute. Oh, okay, so now drag the engine icon from stage 0 down to stage 1. Yep, we want the engine to go first, to give our pilot some comfort. That's it. We have a safe, well, relatively safe craft that's ready to go. Let's make sure that if we need this design again, we don't have to build it all from scratch. At the top of the screen, you will see a name for our craft. I see that. Untitled spacecraft doesn't seem so majestic. Why don't you change that to be something more your style, and you can add a description if you'd like to. I would. First, incompetence. Right? And then we're going to say, let's hope we don't explode on our maiden voyage. Okay. When you use the load screens later, these names and descriptions help you grab the right vessel. When you're happy with the name, click on the save icon in the upper right. Okay, so we'll just click the save icon up here, and we say next. Excellent work. He's happy. Feel free to play around with the parts and techniques I've shown you, and when you're ready to continue, press the red button in the upper right to exit. Okay. Back at the training menu, try the Flight Basics tutorial to learn how to fly this little craft, and then the Intermediate Construction tutorial can teach you more about the editor. Note, any vessels you create here will be lost when you exit. This is just for playing around. Fair enough. Done. Alright. And we did it. Cool. So, we finished the first training scenario of getting started and basic construction. Let's check out basic flight. Let's learn how to fly. Alright. Welcome to the Kerbal Space Center Launch Facility. I'm Gene Kerman. I wonder if he's related or they're just all named Kerman. And I'll teach you the basics of piloting a spacecraft. Okay. I trust you've already checked the basic construction tutorial. If not, I recommend you do so before going through this one. I did that. Today, we'll do a run through all of the important controls for your spacecraft. Our little hopper from your basic construction lesson with Werner may not have all of them, but we'll do a full run through once and see how it flies. If you're ready to go, press next. Oh, look, here's Valentina Kerman, and she's the pilot. Let's hope that, Valentina, you survive this trip. Next. Indeed, nay. Flying a spacecraft is all about being in control of a generally very chaotic situation. As a pilot, your main flight controls will affect the pitch, yaw, and roll of the ship. Let's look at those first. All the other controls will be locked until they're needed, or this tutorial is closed. Okay. Pitch, yaw, and roll are the three directions you will rotate your craft. To help you visualize these, we've taken a holiday snap of the hopper below. That's hilarious. Okay, so roll, alright, like a barrel roll. That makes sense. And then pitch is kind of like up and down. And then yaw is like left and right, very loosely. Next up, we'll see how one rotates these directions. So you control your ship using these commands. Alright, so... oh, they kind of set it up to WASD for you, which is intuitive, right? So Q and E are the roll, yep. And the yaw are A and D, left and right. And WD is up and down with the pitch. Great. Try now and notice the indicator on the lower... Yep, I see it there. So I'm just kind of pushing the buttons and I see the indicators change. Throttle plus pitch, yaw, and roll are the main controls you'll need to master for a successful crash-free flight. We'll skip over the throttle control for now, as this vessel has no need for it. Don't worry, I'll explain it another time when it's of use. Remember that all of these controls have a limited amount of effectiveness, so bigger, heavier ships will probably respond much more sluggishly to the controls than a little small one. Alright. It's also good to keep in mind that as stages are separated from the ship, it will become lighter, and this will usually mean easier to control. Next, let's look at the rest of the flight controls. In flight, all the planning you put into the staging sequence of your ship comes into play. From launch to the final deployment of the descent parachutes, you can control the activation of several of the ship's parts by launching the stages, or activating the stages rather. So you push space to kind of move the stages along. Cool. Alright, so there's like a little light programming or something in this. Notice the stage indicator in the lower left corner. It shows the currently active stage. I see that, stage 1. Since we haven't launched yet, it's showing the first stage is active. I have your staging controls locked for now, so the stage indicator is glowing purple. I see that. One more thing on staging. If the staging setup is causing strife, You can change your mind about something, or you change your mind, you can edit the stage sequence on the fly. Pun intended, no need to go back to the assembly facility. An important part of flying is knowing how your ship is oriented and where it is going. Indeed, that's why a good pilot is always aware of the ship's altitude, where it's pointing, and its velocity vector, where it is going. These aren't always the same direction, and as your skills improve, you should pick up on these. The big round instrument in the lower center of the screen is called the nav ball. I see it. This device sums up most of the critical information needed for proper death-free flight. All right. Here you see the ship's nose in relation to the horizon. When you're not pointing straight up, it's easily visible as a line between blue sky and below ground, as well as its heading, compass bearing, and speed. You'll also get several icons to indicate things like your current velocity vector, but we'll have a look at those later. In the top center of the screen, you have your altimeter, vertical speed indicator, and atmosphere gauges. The altimeter will show you the distance to the planet's surface at sea level. This means the actual surface may be much closer, so watch out for the ground when landing. Your vertical speed indicator shows how quickly your altitude is changing. When launching, it's considered best to keep this gauge pointing up. The atmosphere gauge indicates how deep the ship is in the planet's atmosphere. This helps you know if the ship is high enough for orbiting without losing speed to air resistance, or judge how effective wings and control surfaces will be. Parachute indicators. One last thing before we give this rocket the green light. In the staging stack, you can see the indicator for your parachute. This indicator shows when the chute will be activated by staging. You already know that, but the background will also change color to indicate when it is safe to stage the parachute. Interesting. Okay. So, in the foreground, the parachute bit of the icon itself will change color depending on the parachute state. Note, however, that by default, parachutes will not deploy when unsafe, even if you stage them. The left three show safety. Safe, risky, and unsafe to deploy. The chute is unstaged, white in the left three. Okay? The right three show the state after staging. Arm, deployed, and cut. When you're familiar with the chute icon colors, we can move on, right? So in all of these, it's like staging, but it's not ready. And then almost ready. And then green, good to go. Alright, enough talk. I'll unlock the flight controls and you'll be clear for launch. At any time, you may press Escape to pause the game. In the pause menu, you can restart the flight or end this tutorial. Choose End Scenario and return to the main menu. For now, get yourself prepared and hit space when you're ready to launch. Don't forget our hopper has only a solid rocket motor, so there is no throttle control. That's why we didn't review the throttle here. Make sure to fly in a nice high arc and enjoy the flight. Yep, no adjusting the speed at all. Alright. Ready. Oh my. Okay. And off you go. I'm going to pause it for a second to read this. You can practice some of the controls we just discussed, like pitch, yaw, and roll. Also, keep an eye on the parachute icon in the staging list. That shows how safe your current environment is for chutes. Once it goes red, it won't deploy until it's clear again, even if you stage it. I realize this could be too much to learn in one go, so if you forget, you can always press Escape and click View Key Bindings for a reminder. You can also see whether your crew are enjoying the trip in the lower right corner. She seems okay. Anyways, I'll hang around and watch and let you know when it's safe to stage your chute. Thank you. Alright, let's go. So, I'm going to kind of spin. And then, let's go ahead and we can adjust a bit of our... I can adjust the controls a little bit, but we're going so, like, crazily up that it doesn't do too much. We're just, like, flying up straight into space. Let me try to get ourselves oriented straight again, for whatever that means. Alright. Uh-huh. Uh-oh. And we're still going up. We're still going up. She seems okay. We're drifting up. Uh-oh. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that with the controls. Let's just see if I can get to a nice cruise then. It doesn't look like it. Your solid motor has burned out, and you're passing apoapsis, the highest point in your flight, and your speed is low enough that it's safe to stage again to deploy the chute. I did it. You've armed the parachute. Now time to wait to get low enough and slow down enough for it to deploy safely. Look at her smile. Valentina is loving this. I'm spinning her around a little bit too wildly. Well, maybe worry slightly. If you didn't fly high enough, you may not have enough air under you to slow down before you crash. Hopefully we flew high enough. So I told the parachute to stage, but it won't go until we get to the right settings. Yep, there it goes. Chute destroyed by aero forces. Oh. Your chute is gone. You staged your chute while still going too fast and it ripped up. Afraid there really isn't much that can be done now. It's shredded to ribbons. Valentina? Oh my god. Oh shucks, something went terribly wrong here. You might want to try to stay alive when on an actual mission, you know. Don't feel bad. I'll send someone to clean that up and you can try again. Make sure you fly high enough to be going slow enough for the parachute deployment, and make sure you remember to stage it to arm it. So, I'm just going to tell you straight up. I just pushed a button when you said it was okay. So, I'm not going to listen to you this next time. I'm going to do it again. Revert to launch, okay? And we're going to try this again. And I'm going to see... Yep, we did all this, and then... Alright, so this parachute will change to the right color when we're ready to go. Alright, we're launching. We're going up. I'm not going to mess with it. So it's the parachute is red. It's like, do not do it. You can't even dream of it. And we're going to slow down a little bit, I guess. Alright, we're going up. I'll spin her, like I'll roll just a little. But I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to let it go. Uh-huh. I can spin. That's fun. I've made her ill. Alright, let's not roll anymore. Alright. And let's see. It's gray. We're not quite there yet. Our speed is still pretty much the same. We're going up. Your solid motor. I thought I did it. Maybe I didn't push it fast enough last time. Okay. Internal view. This is hilarious. You're curious one, aren't you? The IVA button over each crew member's portrait will let you see the ship from his own perspective. Note that in this mode, your flight UI has less instruments, since most of them can be found in the cockpit itself. So let's like look out the window. Yep. Cool. In the internal view, right-clicking will toggle between mouse look and interact modes so you can look around without having to hold down the mouse button. Try looking around and clicking on things. The engineering department says there are many devices in here that actually work. They seem quite proud of that, in fact. And you can return to the external view. Okay, so something went wrong again. So I'm going to try this. We're going to try to get this right. I don't know if it's rigged against me, but this is what I'm going to look for. So I'm going to say once it... Okay, so safety. Safe is like this. And then we want safe. So we want it to be gray, like this. And then green for armed is like silvery, and then deployed is green. So we're not really waiting for it to turn green. We're just kind of waiting for it to go back to being safe. Alright, I'm going to go to the cockpit view, because I think this is fun. And let's just see what she can see out here. Do you have any more windows? Not really. I can see her hands. That's cool. And you can... Oh, you can... Oh, even out here you can change the view a little bit. Oh, that's fun. You can just see all kinds of different, like, wonky views. Oh, boy. Odd. Alright. So... we're going up, up, up. She's happy. And I'm going to just right-click again. So now this says it's safe right now to stage this. It's interesting because basically it's not safe to stage it. Like, it says it's okay. But I thought it was like a double blind. So it had to hit the atmospheric conditions as well as... Okay, I'm going to pause it just to read this. Your solid motor has burned out, and we're not going fast. So he's saying it's okay to set the stage because we're going so slow. We're going nearly zero. So I am going to do it. And now we started speeding up again. But now he's like, hey, you should have flown higher. But we're coming back down. So... let's see what happens this time. We're going at the surface really, really fast. It's a little bit scary. Alright, hopefully we have enough. Let's see what happens if we didn't fly high enough. It's not deploying the parachute. Like, the parachute just never came out. Huh. So I thought I really thought I did launch it. I don't know if it's just going wrong. It's probably not. I think I'm just not doing it right. Obviously. But I want to make sure I can get this part right. Like, what's going on here? Alright, Valentina, we're going to try again. I'm sorry. I wait till you're going super, super slow, and when this says it's safe. So, we're really... let's just look at our dials. We're going really fast. We're starting to slow down. We're very, very high up in the air. Yep. this point, we're way, way up. We're at like 21,000 meters above 22,000. We're slowing down. We're at 100 vertical speed. It's safe to stage it now, actually. Let's wait until we're going just to 0. I pushed it. I primed it. And now we're dropping. So I waited until the speed was... Maybe I should have waited here. Like, until the vertical speed was really, really slow. But I went, like, at the peak of the flight, right when the speed was about 0, so that I felt like I had enough space. I was high enough to have the parachute kick in. But I don't know. I mean, do I want to be flying? Like, I can't really fly it. It's not like I can, like, change the direction of this or something. Okay, so the parachute just is not coming out. It didn't even deploy. Make sure you fly high enough to be going slow enough for the parachute deployment. And make sure you remember to stage it to arm it. I mean, I'm staging it. I pushed a button. I got it to launch the parachute before, I think, but parachute collided into the surface. Okay. Okay. I'm just messing around, trying different camera angles. Alright, let's see. We're going fast. We're starting to slow down. I'm gonna fly her in an arc instead of straight up. Maybe that was my problem. Maybe I should be... It said fly in an arc. Maybe I should have been doing that, like, you know, more of an arc. But maybe I'm not getting her high enough in the air. Alright, I'm gonna push the parachute. Alright. So the parachute, we let it go. We're slow. It is theoretically ready. And we're kind of coming down now. We're speeding up. We did it! And now we sit back and enjoy the descent. Oh. It was still going too fast. Never mind. Alright, so I'm still not... I'm sorry, I should have... I think actually I know what I did. I know what I did. I gotta fly this more. this is me being a noob, of course, but I feel like um, they're not explaining that like you need to actually do a much better job of flying this. So you want to like not that, but you want to basically get this thing going at some kind of an angle so that it goes up, but it's at a huge arc so that it's not it doesn't come straight down. But I don't know if I'm getting high enough anymore. Alright, we're slowing down. We're slowing down. That was actually at a risky. I shouldn't have deployed it right there. This is going to result in my own demise, I can already tell. Oh god. We got yellow on the chute. It's scary. I'm spinning out of control. Try to slow it down a little bit. I don't know if I can do anything here. I mean, the parachute is there. It's just not... Oh, God. Alright. And... Oh, did we make it? It looks like it might actually work here. Yeah. Look. She's upside down. I mean, that's fine. But we're going down. Look. This is an actual successful launch. So I kind of just assumed that like we were just going to go up, I was going to launch the parachute and just drop back down and we were good. I didn't realize how much flying you actually had to do adjustment wise. And even when I did do an arc, it was still too high. I still got myself way too high with this ship because I have no thrusters to come back down with. So I guess I just didn't want to fly high at all. You've landed and survived your first quick flight. Yes! When you're landed or splashed on Kerbin and not in training, you can point the mouse above the altimeter and check the recovery button on the panel that slides down to ask to be picked up. Okay, yes, please do that. I've also unlocked the crew hatch, so if you feel like going out for a walk or a swim, you can click on the EVA extravehicular activity button that will pop up when you mouse over the portrait of the Kerbal you want to take a walk. You can do it just for fun or collect a surface sample. This concludes today's lesson. To exit training, you press escape. Cool. To access the pause menu. Alright. Done. Alright, so I'm going to, first of all, the altimeter, which is here. Where's the pop-up thing? Abort action group. No. No, I want to, let's see. I want to get people out of here. Oh, right, EVA. Oh, the hatches are obstructed. Here, try again. Can I control this thing enough to, like, help her get out? What a shame. The hatches are obstructed. Here we go. Yes! She's out. Alright, wait. Climb out. Oh, this is odd. Alright, here we go. I am in a spacesuit, and I'm like a little astronaut. Sweet. Alright, let's do this. I'm jumping. Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, we learned about building a teeny little rocket, and then what we did was we actually launched ourselves a rocket, and it took us a million times to understand what we were actually supposed to be doing on that training mission because I'm, not very bright, but we eventually landed this safely. And I think this is a good look at the game so far, and I'm excited to learn more about the options and things you can do. And I think this is a good place to end the episode. And what I want to say to you guys is, first of all, of course, thank you for watching. But really, what are your thoughts and feelings about this game? Have you played this? Are you interested in seeing more? Is this a fun game? Is this, do you have any tips, suggestions for me if you have played before? And if you haven't, what do you think about this game? What are your impressions so far? Love to chat with you guys in the comments below. I hope you have an excellent evening or day. I'll check you next time. Take care.